Morning, everyone. I'm your host, Chi-Town Zone, for Thursday, December the 12th, 2019, and let's start this. Reports won't go on to state here, Democrats expect wide-scale defections on articles of impeachment. Give me just a quick second here, guys, while we get into this. How many of you, of course, watched was Michael Horowitz yesterday testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing yesterday, where unfortunately Michael Horowitz does believe that there is no bias when it comes to the reports. But you're going to love this one, guys. As many of you may already know, Democrats, moderate Democrats, are already opposed to the impeachment of President Trump. But we know that doesn't stop many of them, of course, as they continue to push to try to get President Trump impeached for, as many of you may already know by now, for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. You know, as I've said again and many others have said, you know, never mind quid pro quo, never mind bribery, never mind extortion. That's all out the window. You may as well had just forgot all about the testimony of Vindman and Soundlin and the four professors of law. The whole thing was just a big waste of time. But the article here goes to read, Democrats are expecting wide-scale defections among their rank and file when articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump comes to the floor for a vote next week, the Washington Post reports. Further article goes here to read, House Democratic leaders are bracing for some defections among a group of moderate Democrats in swing districts who are concerned a vote to impeach President Trump could cost them their seats in November. Well, of course, I think it was just recent. Nancy Pelosi said that they're willing to risk losing the House in order to try to get President Trump impeached. But Trump already just recently stated, I think he was in Hershey, Pennsylvania the other day at a rally, that not only are we have to fight to win 2020, we have to win back the House, because this is absolutely ridiculous with the Democrat Party. This just goes to show the desperation, and they're not going to stop at absolutely nothing. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up, right? But of course, I will be leaving links in the description box below, you guys. Let me see what we have here. Excuse me one second. Democrat Joe Manchin torn on impeachment as no problem with Hunter Biden testifying. But of course, we already know it was just the other day. It was former Vice President Joe Biden who pledges that if subpoenaed by the Republicans, he will not testify. But this should be good here, guys. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, told CNN he is torn on whether to back conviction of President Donald Trump in the U.S. Senate trial should the House of Representatives pass articles of impeachment. Of course, we're hoping that this doesn't happen, but even if it does, we already know that this bill will be DOA once it makes its way to the Senate. And of course, Republicans are going to force members of the Democrat Party to testify. But, you know, things are definitely starting to look good here, guys. Manchin went on to state that he is very much torn on the issue of impeaching Trump. A huge blow to the Democrats as they are told their party together heading into the contentious House floor for a vote next week. Of course, I know many of us will be watching this. We're going to be doing our very best to keep an eye on this, as we know it was last night that Democrats and both Republicans were, speaking back and forth. We heard many of these silly life stories of by the Democrats about how my father's a police officer and he was fired because nobody's above the law, and I went to school for this and went to school for that, and so on. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up, guys. But of course, we're going to continue to do our very best to monitor this. But again, with that being said, for those of you watching, again, do subscribe. Be sure to hit that little bell, and God bless, and do stay tuned.